What is cooking, everybody? I am Max, the part-time pitmaster, and y'all are watching Part-Timers Pit Barbecue. And on this episode, we got the drum smoker fired up. It's a beautiful Sunday. I got some full rack of spare ribs on that I trimmed up St. Louis style, and I kept the tips. So we made up a rub. Now we're there on there cooking with some oak and some cherry wood. And yeah, everything is smelling amazing. All right, so let's get to cooking. All right, y'all. So here we have a full rack of spare ribs. So St. Louis cut spare ribs come from a full rack like this, and you end up cutting off the breastbone there and the rib tips, which is that thin part at the top. So that's what we are going to do. As you can see, I'm drawing out the line. That is pretty much what we're going to cut off. But I go from the back side, the bone side, so you can kind of see where the largest bone is, and you just kind of make a straight line like that right across. Now these tips aren't very big, so yeah, sometimes they can be pretty big. In this case, not so much. So yeah, then we're going to take this little thin flap off at the front there. We are going to just kind of round it out and shape it up. Now I also keep on the membrane because I believe it holds in some of the fat and kind of confits the meat from the inside. And also I don't really notice a difference. I don't notice any papery texture or anything like that. So here we're going to take off this thin little bone at the end there, and then that large kind of pockets of fat you have over there. Now sometimes there's a big skirt flap and you'll take that off. Here obviously there is not. So once I clean this fat off here, because it'll just hinder the rub, it'll just render away and wash away anything. So we'll take that off, make sure any little thin bits are taken off, and then we are ready to make a rub and get to seasoning. And to make this rub, we are going with some MSG, kosher salt, and some Lawrys. We're mixing that with some light brown sugar. Then here we have some cayenne, black pepper, and some chili flakes. And then here we have some paprika, garlic powder, and cumin. And then here we have some chipotle powder and chili powder. So we're going to mix this up. This is our rub. It's got a nice little sweet kick to it, a nice amount of salt. This is just a kind of a basic rub. So there you go. So seasoning wise, this is very simple, no binder, and I'm just going on the back side here, a nice layer, and then we're going to flip it over and repeat the process, and then let these sweat in. I did not do this the night before. Sometimes I like to do that. This time I did it like maybe 2 to 3 hours beforehand. Just let enough time to let the seasoning soak in and the ribs sweat out, and then we're ready to throw this on the pit. So don't forget the edges, and then I'll see y'all at the pit. Oh, and yeah, we're going to smoke these tips, so got to season them up as well. And because they're thin, I just kind of folded them together onto themselves to thicken it up so it cooks a little bit more even. Here I got my chimney full of lumberjack charcoal heating up. We are using the lumberjack premium lump charcoal and my drum smoker from barrelboss. So yeah, now that the chimney's all nice and hot, we got some oak chunks in there, and then I'm going to throw some cherry over top. Let everything get up to temp, and then we're throwing the meat on. So I'll bring it back at that point. All right, so we got our ribs here all sweated in. We're going direct over the coals, bone side down off the jump. Grab the rib tips and the little rib end. Scrunch our ribs up, and we're ready to go. All right, let's make a mop sauce. So off the jump, we are going with a whole heap of vinegar, maybe like a cup and a half. And then we're going in maybe with a tablespoon of lemon juice, and then probably like a whole cup of white sugar. You can use brown if you want. I like white. And then we're going in with some paprika, probably like another tablespoon. A little bit of cayenne, maybe like a half a tablespoon. And then another tablespoon of chili flakes and black pepper. Then we're going in with some ketchup, and we're just going to mix this around. We don't want it thick. You want it runny. All right, y'all, so we're hitting up 2 hours in. All that shadow. Look at that color. Oof. We are gonna flip meat side down. We'll flip these as well. Now I'm going to let these go like this for about an hour, and then I'll come back, mop it, and flip it, meat side up again. So it's been about an hour that we've been meat side down. Our mop we've been keeping warm, and now we're just going to mop the backside of these ribs and rib tips, and then we're going to flip them over. I don't want to get too much mop on the membrane because we do want to dry it out, crisp it up, so we don't want to soften it. So now we're going to flip it. Look at that. That looks delicious. A little bit of char on there from the direct heat, and then we're going over the top side with our mop. And yeah, this mop is just going to add some flavor, add a nice little sweet tang to it, and to keep everything moist so we don't burn the edges. And now we're going to close the lid and get back to it for another hour. All right, so rib tips are nice and done. So we're going to pull those off and wrap them. And the rack of ribs, I'd say we're pretty close to being done. Probably give it another 30-40 minutes, another mop, and we'll be pulling these off to rest as well. So these rib tips are complete. They are tender, they are cooked. So I'm going to wrap them up just to let them rest. So we're going to hit them with a little bit of the reserve mop here and some of the homemade barbecue sauce I made the other day. And we're just going to wrap them up and leave them off to the side until we're ready to dig in. So yeah, and next time you see me, we'll be dealing with the ribs. This is the last and final mop. Now I only flipped these ribs the one time after the 2-hour point, so now they've been bone side down for the rest of the cook. We're hitting them with the last mop, let them cook for like another 30 minutes, and then we're gonna pull them off, wrap them, and rest them, because they'll be complete. So for the wrap here, I just got some butter, some of that homemade barbecue sauce, and a little bit of the leftover mop. We're just gonna wrap these up nice and tight and let them sit until we are ready to dig in. I'll see y'all at the cutting board when it's ready to cut in and taste these. All right, let's take a look at these ribs. All right, look at these. Man. Now I don't want to cut all these ribs up because they are for dinner. Those look bomb. All right, so the ribs look delicious. I'm gonna go in for a bite. See how tender. Oh yeah. That's a clean bite. Great flavor. Oh man. Good, simple, modest flavor. Nothing too in your face, but just something you can eat. Got a little sweetness in there. A little bit of all the other flavors. A little bit of the tang from that mop. Here we got some of that rib tip. Well, this is actually the end piece of the rib, so let's go on with that one, right? They're fire. I'm gonna get these wrapped back up so I have them nice and warm for dinner. But man, got that nice direct heat flavor, got that tang from the mop, got that flavor from the rub. Like man, everything just kind of works together. They're not saucy, but they're not dry. It's just a good all-around rib. Like, you know what? Like, come on. Juicy, tender. That's how you want your ribs to be. Oh my God. Man, I know. If y'all like what you see, like, subscribe. I'm gonna wrap these back up, clean off my face, but yeah, yo, these are fire. All right, I'm out. Peace.